Shay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. Happy, is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday, isn't it? I think so. Happy Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. I'm not doing well. But happy day. Sleek Styles, Lundy Couture. Ooh, I like that name. Good morning. Okay, so Vintage Avenue North, good morning as well. And Holler, good morning. So welcome in. Feel free to share your shows and ask your questions. I'm going to do a brief overview of the Canada Post thing again for everybody. Most of my shows seem to be multicasting to my YouTube channel, which, hang on, I'll pull that up so everyone can see. Let's see. YouTube, where are you? Good morning, Misco. Good morning, Sleek Styles. Good morning, Gyrays Closet. Good morning, Shannon. Welcome in. Let's see. Oh, it says I'm live. So I am live. Okay, so it's happening. It's live now. So I'm just gonna flip this. I'm gonna switch for a second. Hopefully this works. It's in here because you kept asking questions. Good. Okay, awesome. Well, welcome. Hang on one second. So I'm just going to zoom in. So take a screenshot of that. It's the Red Rooster Shop. That's my YouTube handle. I'm sorry. It's a pain. Sorry. I know. Go with something simpler. Good morning, Forget Me Not Vintage. Big Daddy's Bargain Bin. What's up? Good morning, Chase. Good morning, Ella. Good morning, Eastender Resales. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so let's good morning. Okay, let me just hang on. All right, so that's the Red Rooster Shop. That's my YouTube channel. We're live now on YouTube, so you can rewatch this show, which is the only reason I do this. I have no interest in becoming YouTube famous at all. Please, God, no. But this is just so that if you miss my show or you want to rewatch parts of it to get more, to like get the information again, you can go to my YouTube channel. And I try to, I try to multicast, but it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't on iPhone. The best way to do multicasting is using OBS on a computer, but I haven't set that up because your girl is so disorganized. The Faja, good morning, the Faja. I love you. How are you feeling, love? Good morning, Angus Gray. Good morning, Stamp Pickers. Good morning, Corey. How are you doing? I know you're awesome. You're amazing. BD Canada, welcome in. Everyone follows Stamp Pickers, who is a premier seller on Whatnot. He's got wings. He's gonna, of course, you're incredible. You are incredible. Okay, this is my cup for today. Okay, you're feeling better. Awesome. So it's working. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Shannon says here for Canadian followers as well. La Mer. Bonjour la Mer. Comment ça va? That's as far as I can go with French. Je suis très désolé because my French sucks. You're ça va? I'm comme ci, comme ça. Okay, here we go. Two Dial TCG says, hey Kim, I have a question. Are we allowed to state what the worth market value of an item is before we sell it? I've heard both no and yes. Okay, so so I would just be careful with that because yes, some sellers do it but they overinflate it, and other sellers don't. They give you an accurate one. So it's sort of like, what is the fair market value? With clinical trial, no more pain. Oh, I'm so happy. Yay, Faja. Everyone follow the Faja. He's in Colorado. Healthcare there sucks. Healthcare funding sucks. But the healthcare he's getting does not suck. Forget Me Not Vintage says, if it's something really valuable, I usually show screenshots of sold prices from WorthPoint. Yeah, that's a great idea. Like, this Sherman piece, like it's gone for $300, $400, $500, $600, whatever. If you're doing like cards, you can always say like the book price is this, or yeah. So yeah, as Tudel TCG says, good morning, final girl. It's not against terms of service, but it's just a bit risky for the trust factor. Yeah. So it's sort of a matter of I wouldn't overdo it. And it also depends on what category you're in, right? Like if when I'm doing my vintage stuff, if it's something that's like and I know that not everybody will know what the value of this is, I will say like these go for about this much, but I don't go over the top. I'm always very careful. So as long as you yeah, you state it and then run it at 50%. That's totally fair to say normally I sell this for, but today I'm going to sell it for this. Or normally this goes for this amount, $100, but I'm going to sell it for $50. Shannon says, asks, is anyone else stuck and not able to sell? Chitchats into my area and I can't make a label for it, and the closest drop point is an hour away. Chitchats drop point or Pure Later drop point. Tudel says, knowing the card community, they're searching it up as they show the card off. Yes. Good morning, Vintiquity. How are you? Pickles is in the house. Everyone that's cool is in the house. Forget Me Not Vintage says you definitely have to be giving the right prices. Don't ever tell people what other people are asking on the bay. Yes. If you say this is on eBay selling for $700, well, anybody can list anything for any price on it's if they're sold comps. Like you can say, two of these just sold on eBay for $700 2 days ago. Like that would be fair as a comp. But I think, you know what, that just takes up time. Most of your buyers are pretty familiar with what you're buying, especially in TCG, right? Like as Tudel says, they're looking it up. So it's like, so Pure Later isn't an option for you. So Shannon, you don't have a Pure Later drop-off location anywhere near you. It's not an option on the app. So let me talk you through it. Let's do this. Let's do the Canada Post. We're going to do the Canada Post thing. Hang on one second. Let me just go to, oh my God, I have too many, I have too many apps open. Make sure I'm muted before, always remember if you're going to tell people to go look for themselves. I have a ton. Yeah, you can coach them through it. Exactly. You can teach them. You can always do that in your show. You can teach people how to go and look at sold comps. All right. So, hang on one hot sec here. Nostalgia Sue, how are you? Wait, this show has ended. Why is it showing me a show that's ended? What the fork, whatnot? No. Bad whatnot. Please hold. Oh my gosh. My internet. It's either whatnot or it's the internet. Okay. I hope this is accurate. Let's see. 21 people in the room. Looks like it might be. Oh, there you go. Forget Me Not Vintage. Oh, there I am. Hello, everyone. Okay. What not being glitchy today is the truth. Here's another thing I want to show you. I'm just going to pick you guys up for a second. So on my screen, switch, on my laptop, this is Dear Whatnot. What the fork? How am I supposed to, if I want to pin a product or anything, look at how much space I have. Pending, auction, look at that. Like, what am I supposed to do with that little space? Let me see if I can, I'm going to have to make it smaller. Maybe I have to do that. Zoom. All right. We're going to go from 100% to 67%. Okay, 67% lets me see this much. That's insane. And look, I can't read that. I can't read that from here. If I go to 50%, then it's going to look like this. So at least I can find my stuff. How insane is that? Like, I should not have to go to 50% in order to be able to get to, like, this is a really bad layout. Like this new layout that you did, whatnot, with all this, it's because of this pushing everything down. It's insane. All right, where was I? Canada Post Strike, product actions, start auction. All right, giving myself 5 minutes. Here we go. start the timer. I'm gonna do this. All right, here we go. 5 minutes. Bloop. Please hold while I reset up. Switch. Okay, I'm gonna do the Canada Post update. Yeah, I know it's some. Okay, here we go. Trying to set up my really fancy system. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Collecto Cards. Good morning to Absolute Flipping Deals. Sleek Styles, not new glasses, just I haven't cycled through these in a while. Sometimes you'll find that I wear glasses that you haven't seen in a while because I cycle through them. It just depends on what I'm wearing and how I'm feeling, what glasses you guys get. Yeah, don't hit the bid button. I mean, you could, but I don't know, I have no idea. I could send you a bunch of my mom's collection of stamps, but I don't think it's worth 666. All right, let me just go to face. For fork's sakes, I don't want to create a poll, or maybe I do. We haven't done a poll in a while, have we? Oh, I don't want to raid either. Just, can you let me face cam? Face cam. Did I do it, or did I just turn it off again? I probably just turned it off again. Face cam. I just turned it. Son of a nutcracker. Okay, there. Holy poop. Okay, all right. I've already wasted a minute and a half just doing that. Welcome to my show. All right, welcome to Strike 2.0. We're going to go through this, and I'm going to try to explain everything and help you guys out with this whole strike poop. So I'm going to try and ignore what the chat says as I go through, and then if you have a question, make sure you put a question mark on it so that it goes yellow. And also, when I start reading through the chat, I'm going to start with those that have question marks. Okay, once I'm done this. So I'm going to try and do this. I have 3 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not going to make it. All right, duration is unknown. The strike started a while. Look, it feels like forever ago. So I haven't even started. I don't count days now. I'm not even bothering to count days. Last time there was a strike, it lasted 32 days. The strike before that lasted 26 days. Okay, so we've got a ways to go. Also, Sandpicker Sue's here says that it's probably going to have to go to arbitration, which the government is going to have to force Canada Post to agree to. The union's perfectly fine with binding arbitration, but Canada Post doesn't want to do binding arbitration. It's a matter of whether there's a will in the government to force it into binding arbitration. Trying to force them back to work is not going to work this time, I don't think. I think with the Air Canada flight attendants refusing the order to go back to work and saying, no, we won't go back to work until this is resolved, I think something similar is going to have to happen with Cup W. But anyways, I digress. Okay, here we go. So if you are a seller, Canadian seller, Canada-based seller, you will have received an email a couple of weeks ago from Whatnot with all the information of how you can still continue to sell on Whatnot and how to set up some of these systems. So I'm just going to go through, I'm not going to take you like completely step by step and tell you every single thing. Your job as an adult is to go to help.whatnot.com. I'll say it again, help.whatnot.com. And you're going to search for Canada Post. And you're going to click on the Canada Post strike. In your results, the first thing is probably going to be Canada Post strike. Click on that. It's the FAQ. It tells you everything you need to know, step-by-step information. There's more links to more things. That's where you want to start, okay? Is there. Read it, read the email, read it twice, go click on the links, read the help.whatnot.com FAQ, read it twice, make sure you click on all the links, make sure you learn all the information, because I'm just here to answer questions and try and help you with any confusion you might have, but I'm not going to read it for you. Okay, so during a postal strike, you can keep selling on Whatnot. It's a key time of year. This like we're in Q4 now. We're in like the final stretch. This is pre-Christmas buying season. This is the time when we all need to be selling. I need to be selling. I need to start selling. I need to feel better so I can start selling again. So you have some options available to you. Now, not everybody in Canada is going to be able to use these options, but a significant portion of the country is, okay? Some of them are going to cost you extra money as a seller, which is going to be a business expense. You have to see it as a business expense. Some of these things are not going to cost you any extra money. Okay, so first and foremost, not costing you any extra money, is if you can use Chitchats instead of Canada Post, and I'll talk more about that, then switch to Chitchats. You go to on your phone, you go to the seller hub, and then you go to the menu and you go down to shipping, and you change your shipping provider from Canada Post to Chitchats, hit save or apply, whatever it is, and then Chitchats will now be the price that your buyers will see when they go to purchase something from you. And then you can just create a label like you did before the strike, and you just drop it off at Chitchat's location, or you can use Smart Drop, which we'll talk about in a bit. Whatnot is also activated Bring Your Own Label temporarily, and I will talk more about this. Bring Your Own Label is where you go and buy a FedEx or UPS label from another shipping company, and I'll talk about that. I'll talk about not going directly to FedEx or UPS to get your label. You just need a FedEx or UPS label. And then you can have UPS or FedEx pick up at your house, or you can drop off at a UPS or FedEx drop off location. This is something that will help a lot of people. However, there is an additional cost to this. Any price, so say your buyer paid $20 for shipping, but it cost you $40 for a UPS label, you have to eat that extra $20. Whatnot is not going to give you all of the money back. So you're only going to get back from Whatnot what the buyer paid Whatnot for shipping. So let's first talk about Chitchats, which is an option where you don't need to worry about extra costs because the buyer is paying for Chitchats label. So I need you to do your research. I need you to go to chitchats.com, and I need you to put in your address and find out if there is a location near you. Then I need you to look at that location and make sure you get all the information. So not every drop-off location of Chitchats is the same. Some of them have restrictions on the size of packages. Others have restrictions on times. For example, the one that's near me, 35 minutes away in Peterborough, is only open 12 to 5 Monday through Friday. So I need to rearrange my life and my schedule so that I go between 12 and 5 to Peterborough to drop off. If you were hoping that you could just drop off on your way to work, then that's not going to work, right? Because 12 to 5 doesn't work with most people's work schedules. So make sure that you can get the packages there. Now, if you don't have a Chitchats near you, that doesn't mean that you can't use Chitchats. With an additional cost, you could use Smart Drop system, but right now it is not automated. Okay, so you would have to do some manual things. Smart Drop would be with Purelator. So I want you to go to purelator.com, and I want you to see if there's a Smart Drop location near you. Where I live, there's one 10 minutes away to the west, one 15 minutes away to the north, and one 15 minutes away to the east. So I'm kind of surrounded by Smart Drop locations. So 10 minutes for me is way better than half an hour, 35 minutes to drive all the way to Peterborough. And I can do it on my own schedule, depending on the I also have to look at the schedule of when the Purelator drop-off location is open to make sure that that's going to work with my schedule. But I got 3 choices, so I can just go 15 minutes in almost any direction and find a Chitchat, a drop-off location. So you want to look at the Purelator drop-off locations and their times when they're open, and any restrictions that they have. Some of them do not accept large packages, some of them do. What you would be doing is taking all of the, so you did a sale and you did 50 shipments. You would put all those shipments into one big box, or you could break it up into multiple boxes, but then you would take that to the Purelator Smart Drop location and drop it off there. But you first need to make sure that you create a batch label. Okay, there's a lot of steps to this. First and foremost, you need to go to only if you're going to use the Smart Drop system. Okay, only if you're going to use the Smart Drop system, you need to create a account with Chitchats. If you're not going to use Smart Drop, but you want to use Chitchats, you do not need to go in and create an account with Chitchats if you don't want to. You don't need to. It's all part of the Whatnot system. It's only when you want to use Smart Drop to send a whole batch of shipments that you would want to get your own account. Okay, so you get an account from Whatnot. Now, right now, they don't have a way, but it's in the pipeline for their developers to update the website so that you can go in and enter the tracking numbers from Whatnot, put them into Chitchats, and it would automatically add to your batch because you have to create a batch, and you can learn more about that at chitchats.com and read all about batching. So you're going to take all of your shipments and you're going to have all the tracking numbers. Eventually, you're going to be able to just enter it into the system yourself, and it will create a batch label, and then you can buy a Pure Later label either from Chitchats, or you could use a different company if you can get a better deal. Like freightcom.com seems to have a better deal, dear Chitchats, for doing this smart drop. Because what you're doing is you're dropping it off. Say I drop it off in Keene, Ontario. It's going to go to the closest Chitchats hub, which is in Burlington, Ontario. So I'm going to pay for my box to go from Keene to Burlington. So it is an additional cost. But say I do 20 sales, 20 shipments. If I have to pay $25 to ship it over there, that's worth my time and effort than going all the way to Peterborough. So it's worth it for me. It would be a good business expense for me because I would save a lot of time and energy by doing that. Okay, so you've made an account and you've got all your labels from Whatnot. You're then going to, right now, you have to this is a super manual system. Okay, is everyone ready? What you need to do is call your closest Chitchat branch, not a drop off, a branch. You're going to call the closest Chitchats branch and you're going to ask that employee for help creating a batch label. You can say, I'm a Whatnot seller. I have all these Chitchat packages I want to send to the hub, but I need to have a batch label created and I can't do it myself. Can you help? They should say yes. And a few of the stores have done that. A lot of the stores are now saying yes. So what they have to do is they'll give you their email address. You email them make sure you give them the email address for your Chitchats account, and then you're going to give them all of the tracking numbers for all of your shipments that are going to go into the big box. And then you wait for them to create a batch for you. They're going to create a batch, and then you sign on to chitchats.com, take that batch, create a label, and then you can either buy the label through Chitchats for the Pure Later label. You're going to have to measure and weigh that big box with all the packages in it. Okay. So that's how you can do Chitchats with SmartDrop. For now, it is a time consuming process because you need to make a phone call, you need to talk to someone, you need to send them an email, you got to wait for them to do it, etc., etc. Eventually, it will be more simple where you just have to enter the tracking numbers on the Chitchat system, but they don't have that set up yet, but they are working on it. Just a reminder that this does cost extra money. So my recommendation is if you're going to have to use Smart Drop or bring your own label, because it's going to cost you more money, it's your choice, it's your business. For my business, I would add $1 or $2 on to each start bid in order to offset the extra costs that I'm going to have to pay for all these shipments. So next up is bring your own label. And I promise I'm going to get to everybody's questions at the end. Next up is bring your own label, which you can do with UPS or FedEx labels only at this time. And I really want to say, if you have an opinion or have a suggestion of another company that Whatnot should use, message them. If you go to my show notes and you scroll down all the way to where there's a line of fire, there's the instructions step by step on how to contact Whatnot to provide feedback. You want to provide that feedback and say, we want more things, more options. Like Sendle.com is so cheap. I cannot express how cheap it is. So if you want to use bring your own label, now you could go to ups.com or fedex.com or to a UPS store, and you could buy a label from them directly. It's going to cost you a lot more, but that's up to you. If that's what you want to do, you boo, remembering that Whatnot's not going to reimburse you for the extra costs, okay? So my recommendation is do not buy direct. There are companies like freightcom.com, which is also ClickShip, and McCool, and a whole bunch of others. And all you have to do is ask Lord Google, and Lord Google will provide you with the information, okay? So freightcom.com or mccool.com are just two of the ones that I recommend. All right, next. Boop. Just a reminder, Whatnot will credit you the amount that your buyer paid them for shipping, which is Canada Post rates. Any difference in cost is your expense. So as I said before, plan ahead, and if you cannot afford, your business cannot afford to swallow all those costs, then add a small amount to your start bid, like $1 or $2. Okay, so once you've bought a label from UPS or FedEx for that package that's going to be sent to your Whatnot buyer, you're going to go back to seller.whatnot.com on a computer or a tablet, laptop, whatever. And you just need a browser, ideally Chrome, and you're going to enter each of the tracking numbers in. So you enter the tracking code, and let me just zoom in here. Nope, not me. This one. There we go. So you enter the tracking code, and then you would select either UPS or FedEx. And then bada bing, bada boom, you're done. So once you've done that, the clock starts. And 7 days, and let me just zoom in again. If you don't have instant payout, which means you haven't sold 1,000 items or more, if you don't have instant payout, then 7 days after you have entered the tracking number, Whatnot is going to pay you out for your item as well as for the shipping that your buyer paid. So you are going to have that cost that you need to keep in mind, that you're going to have to buy these labels, and then you're going to wait 7 days before you get some of the money back. And then, of course, as you know, taking your money out from Whatnot takes anywhere from 2 to 7 days, depending on the bank that you use. So you're going to see two lines for each item that you sold. You'll see earnings, and then you're going to see the amount that the buyer paid for shipping. So that's what your ledger is going to show. And in some cases, it could be that the buyer paid $0 for shipping because they bought multiple things. So you're going to see like 23 cents and then $0, and then 23 cents or $2 or $10 or whatever it was, right? Okay. Oh, I moved myself over. I'm not very good at this. Okay. Right, now I'm way down. I'm way down in the chat. All right. Next up. Oops. Oh, Jesus, Mother Mary and Joseph. Don't use Zoom. Okay. So Canada to US packages are still going to go via UPS automatically through Whatnot. Automatically. You don't have to buy a label. You don't have to do anything. The system is already set up to send by UPS. So all you need to do is what you did before the strike, which is generate that label, print it out, put it on, and then you either drop it off at a UPS location or go on to ups.com and organize for a pickup at your house. But you do not need to bring your own label for anything that's going to the United States. All right. Next up is P.O. boxes won't work because they're post office boxes. Now, like a box at a UPS store doesn't count because it's not a post office box. It's a postal box, but it's not a post office box. A post office box is not going to work because the post offices are not putting mail into your slots. So you need to switch to a physical address. And if the Whatnot system is supposed to be stopping people from being able to use a P.O. box, but sometimes they're going to get through. So if you see that it's a P.O. box and you're not able to generate a Chitchats label because it's a P.O. box, or you go to ups.com and it's not letting you generate a label because it doesn't recognize the address because they can't drop off at post office boxes, then you need to contact your buyer. As the seller, you contact your buyer and you say, I need a physical address. Do you have an address that you want to use instead? And if you're doing bring your own label, you could just enter that in and send it and not worry. But if you're going to use Chitchats, you're going to have to get a physical address from them. And this is the step-by-step instructions. You're going to have to contact Whatnot, just like I said before. Go up to my show notes, go down to the line of fire. There's the contact us. You're going to contact them, or in the shipment on seller.whatnot.com, you can say get help with this order. So you want to hit get help with this order and tell them that you're going to create a ticket, tell Whatbot you want a ticket, and you're going to ask them to create to change the address. You also need to ask your buyer to contact Whatnot too by saying get help with this order, and ask your buyer to change their address, so that both of you are asking, because Whatnot's going to have to go and ask your buyer anyways if it's okay to switch it to a different address. They can't just take your word for it. They have to verify with the buyer. Okay, so if you had packages in transit with Canada Post or on their way up from the States using United States Postal Service, USPS, it is stuck. Those packages are stuck in transit and are in a secure location until the strike is over, and then they will continue to move through the system as quickly as possible. If you don't have Chitchats or UPS or FedEx or a Pure Later drop off near you, then you're probably not going to be able to do shows. But does that mean you can't do something different? So let me just switch for a second. So you may not be able to do a selling show if you don't live in an area, but that doesn't mean that you can't do a community show. Go to And Whatnot Community, select Community as a show, and teach people. Keep in touch with your buyers during this time, even if you can't sell. Teach people about things. If you are in women's fashion, teach people about how to pick out brands. Like, what are the brands that you love to buy? Why do you love to buy those brands? What is so great about those brands, those designers? Teach people about how to care for clothing. If you're in vintage and antiques, oh my God, you have so many options of what you could teach people about. Is there something you collect? Like, teach people about it. Is there something that you want to learn more about? So learn about it and then teach people. Or just have a conversation show where you just talk about the favorite things that you love to sell, and show off the stuff that you sell and say, this will be coming in a future show, but it can't be in this show, and have a chat show. Do a trivia show. Do something fun instead. Like, I did pie in the face once, twice, 3 times. A lot of times I did pie in the face. You could do all kinds of things that are just like, smash therapy. Do whatever you want. Do something fun, and keep the momentum going with your buyers so that they don't feel like you've disappeared and they move on to somebody else, right? You want them to come to you. So if you had regular shows and you can't do your regular shows because of the Canada Post strike, don't just put up a notice on your profile that says, I'm not doing shows right now. Why not do some community shows? And in the meantime, see if there is a way that you could possibly still sell using Pure Later to Chitchats or UPS or FedEx. You may be surprised. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up again. Hang on. I'm going to go to questions, and I'm going to scroll all the way back up. Apologies. Absolute Flipping Deal says, no alligators, bordered with smooth sailing, actually easier than before Trump. Maybe because there's less people, I assume. There's less people. Oh, Stampicker says shipping is starting to be backed up at the Richmond Chitchats location. That's interesting. I'm not surprised. Shannon says, so I've tried several times for support, and they ask questions in their email, and I cannot reply to the email they're sending from. That's really weird. So what I would do, Shannon, is I would copy their last message, and I would send an email to seller support at whatnot.com. I do not suggest using seller support all the time. It's much better to go in the app, but if you are having problems or you're just not getting through to folks, then seller support at whatnot.com is the email that I would suggest you send. Sassy Mandu says, I hear that Whatnot reimburses you for your batch label cost of Chitchats. No, they should not be doing that. I understand that some people have messaged support and gotten someone who doesn't have the information about in the first few days, there was a lot of misinformation and a lot of confusion in support. And so, yes, people were getting reimbursements for things that they shouldn't get reimbursements for. But no, that is a cost for you. So you should not be getting a refund from Whatnot for sending. Chitchats does have your first batch label that you buy with Pure Later is free, so there is that. Jespian asks, hey Jespian, if an order has been stuck under label created and seller says it's been shipped, will the seller get in trouble if I contact whatnot? So it's stuck under label created, but the seller says that it's shipped. It could be that it's Chitchats and that it wasn't scanned. So I would ask the seller nicely. I mean, this is up to you. I would ask the seller if they could please check to see why it still just says label created. If there's if there's a if there is a tracking number, click on that and see if it shows you anything. If it shows you that it goes Chitchats and it's stuck, then I would even contact Chitchats. You'd probably get a faster response than you would from seller support, to be honest. But if you find that like 2 weeks go by and you still don't have your package, then definitely you should contact whatnot directly. Vintiqui has good suggestions. Angie's this and that says, so if shipments are stuck in the mail, do you get paid or have to wait? I have one stuck. So usually if a package it's usually after about 2 weeks that you'll automatically get a payout anyways if the package was shipped and it's just stuck somewhere. But I would definitely contact whatnot to ask them about that. But if you have a high value thing that you're waiting for. Yeah, Sassy Mandu. So one person did get reimbursed. So if you live, but that was one of those lucky mistakes of support that they shouldn't be doing. So if you're in the Maritimes, if you live in Atlantic Canada, and in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, or PEI, you can use Chitchats and drop off at a maritime bus location. The maritime bus locations, you do the same thing as you would with the Purelator drop off. You take all of your shipments and you put them into one big box or a couple of big boxes, and you drop off at the maritime bus location. They do charge you a fee for taking that from wherever you are in the Maritimes to Chitchats Bedford Bay Depot. So the Bedford Bay Depot collects all of the Maritime Bus Company drop-offs, but there is a fee involved with that. So yeah, that's the issue there. So yes, there was one person who's probably in the room still who did get paid a reimbursement from whatnot, but that was a lucky break. And Shannon, I have to figure out what I will catch up. Celestial Fashion Thrift says, are there tariffs that I would have to pay shipping to the US? I'm very leery about shipping to the US. So Celestial Fashion Thrifts, the way it works on Whatnot is that you, if a US buyer buys from you, it's automatically going to ship through Whatnot via UPS. So you need to drop off at a UPS drop off location. You create a label just like you normally would, enter in the dimensions and the weight of your package, and then you hit generate label and print out your UPS label. And then you can either drop off at a UPS location, or you can go to ups.com and set up a pickup through their website. Now, your buyer is going to get charged for customs fees from UPS, which are high, anywhere from $10 to $29 US. Plus, they will also pay any US government fees, which work out to, for most things, about 35%. They're going to be paying that as well as the UPS fee. And the UPS fee is usually higher than the rest, unless you're selling really a big amount or high value items. So you do not have to pay any tariffs or customs charges. It is all on the buyer. And when a US person comes into a Canadian show or any show outside of the US, there's like a big like warning pop-up that comes up and says there's extra charges for buying in here, and if you want, and it says join show or cancel. So you're going to see that a lot of US buyers just come in and then leave again because they get this warning that says there's going to be extra charges, because a lot of Americans don't even understand what's going on. And part of that is because the de minimis exemption that was taken away on August 29th was in place since 1938. So like 3 or 4 generations of Americans have never had to deal with paying any import fees for anything that they bring in from other countries, because they've been under the $800 value, which was what the de minimis exemption was. So now, with the de minimis exemption gone, the only way that currently Whatnot can deliver to the US is through, so is through UPS, and using the system where UPS charges the buyer. If before Canada Post went on strike, you had to prepay the duties and taxes before you could buy a Canada Post stamp label to go to the US. Whatnot is like, no, we're not going to do that. Magnus from Rica says, watch out for US returning shipments to senders. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of return to sender. So far, none of my return to senders have actually come back to me. So I don't know where they've gone. Maybe they've gone to like a Whatnot warehouse or something. So Whatnot still paid me out. I did not get dinged for that. And you shouldn't. Your buyers have been warned. And my recommendation is that if you look, they're not IBCC shop. It's on a case by case basis, but Whatnot is not supposed to reimburse buyers if they do a return, because they just don't want to pay the tariffs, taxes, and duties, because they were warned. Like they're they're so warned. Hang on. Let me go back to here. Ugh. Please hold. I'm gonna switch to shipping best practices, discoverability. There you go. Product actions, pin item. There we are. So this little thing that I did down here with if you can see it, there's a picture. You shouldn't have to pay taxes and duties on returned items, no, because it's a return to sender, so we shouldn't have to pay any taxes and duties. Hang on. I'm going to try and catch up here. I'm trying to just look at the question marks, but I'm going to try and read everything else in between too. Adorned by Zartash, thank you for that raid. You are awesome. And Adorned by Zartash did what everyone should do, is no matter what, when you end your show, don't just end your show, raid into somebody else, unless Whatnot's glitching on you. Yeah, so again, about that, someone getting reimbursed for something that they're not supposed to get reimbursed for, that was a glitch in the support system that shouldn't have happened. And again, thank you, Adorned by Zartash. Everybody follow Adorned by Zartash. You could have picked anybody to raid, and you picked me. I'm very honored, truly. Okay, I'm gonna skip all this. Stamp Picker says, from what I see, all PO box people can't bid now. Good. Okay. Yeah. So it tells them they're not able to bid. So if you have a buyer who comes into your show and it says not shippable to me, but I live in Canada, ask them if they're using a PO box for their address, because that's probably why it says not shippable to them. It would really only be the only reason. Swimmers to the seaside, or Swimmers to the Sidey. I love that name. Hello, how are you? I'm trying to catch up. Stamp Picker says, share your experience. People love those stories. So if you can't sell, do a community chat show and share your experience. People love those stories, how you got into it, what your favorite stuff is. Stamp Picker says, I have some crazy stories. If they don't happen to me, I wouldn't have believed them. They're documented though. East End Resale says, show your hairless Sphinx cat. Exactly. Yeah, do all the things. True North Collectibles, what about the pickup option? Which pickup option, love? Sorry, I'm catching up. Niceco 8, Nice skate. No, nice go. Anyways. It says, I have a package stuck since September 16th coming from Alberta to Ontario, and Whatnots keeps telling me to wait until October 29th. Holy moly. I wonder why. Is it stuck in Canada Post? That's probably why. Is it stuck? Did it go by Canada Post? Malachi's Madhouse, we don't pay the fees and tariffs. Yes, Stamp Picker says tariffs, customs, and fees are due. I'm gonna moderate you. I don't know why I haven't. Tariffs, customs, and fees are due by all buyers, not sellers. As for the cost, it's based on the transactional price, not the audit price. Yeah, so how much the buyer paid, not what the value of the item is. Yard Yeller says, so what do we do on returned items? You can, if you do actually receive the item back, just put it back in your inventory and sell it. If the buyer refused it, then it's yours again. And even if you got paid out and it comes back to you, if you got paid out and the buyer returned it to you, it's yours again. Sorry. I mean, I've made mistakes before where I've bought stuff from the States and gotten like a huge customs bill. And I just thought this is a really good lesson to learn that maybe I won't do this again. Sassy Mandu says, if I ship out to the States, the customer doesn't want to pay the tariffs and send it back, I don't have to pay duties to receive my item back, right? You should not, because it's not actually like it's being returned back to the exporters. So no, there shouldn't be any charges from Canadian charges. So East End Resale says my packages came back to me and I did get reimbursed from Whatnot. Yeah, if you have verified buyers turned on, then they won't be able to bid at all. Yeah, so Canadians, so yes, as Sleek Style says, Canadians, when we go into a show outside of Canada, it's going to say not shippable to you, and that's because they use USPS, United States Postal Service, which then hands it off to Canada Post. So USPS is useless to get stuff to us, and we don't know how long this strike is going to be. It could be a while. Sassy says, I have a pickup option. I set the address to my nearby pharmacy instead of my home address in case someone wants to do a local pickup. Yeah, local pickup is a really great option. Use it to actually pick up in person. If you don't want to meet people in person, then do not use local pickup. Malachi's Madhouse says, can seller not pay the fees and tariffs? No, not through Whatnot. Yeah, sorry, Nice Go. It is literally stuck. That's probably why they're saying wait until October 29th. They're kind of being hopeful that it'll be like just over a month. Collecto Card says, what happens when buyer's address doesn't reach Chitchats location and bids on something on live auction? So yes, not all locations in Canada can Chitchats deliver to. So it will, when they buy from you, you will have to use the bring your own label system for those people. So it'll be, again, another reason why to just increase your bids by a small amount. Rebecca's in the house. Thank you, Stamp Pickers. Stamp Picker says, let's see what the minister says today. Maybe Canada Post Corporation back at work shortly. We're all hopeful. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. No, Reptile Guy, what's up? Shanna says, everything has become so difficult. Basically, waiting it out is my own option. Or do community shows, like start chat shows. Start, just introduce yourself. Get everyone to know you. If you're a new seller and you can't sell right now because of the strike chaos and everything, then do some community shows so that people get to know you and learn about you and learn about what you like and all that kind of stuff. It's, it doesn't, even if you got 2 other people in your show, you can just have a chat with them. It's fun. Trust me. Do a trivia show. Do something silly. Do something fun. Sassy Mandu, yes, you were doing your silent show. If I was doing a silent show, how can I cast my show thumbnail on the screen rather than having my black camera show on screen? I cast my thumbnail. Oh, okay. So Sassy, do you have an Android or an iPhone? That's my first question. Shan says, I did my first show, made so many sales, created all the labels, and the next day the strike happened. Yes, you can get, if you can use Chitchats, you can switch all those labels to Chitchats instead. You can message whatnot. So just waiting for, oh, you canceled everything. No, please don't do that again. Please don't. Canceling your orders negatively affects your selling rating on whatnot. Do not cancel orders unless you absolutely have to. Especially like an entire show where you sold a whole bunch. But it's done. You did it. It's done. So don't worry about it. Sandra Sensation says just shop, 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 chat, chat, chat. Yeah, exactly. So Sassy, sorry. I have an iPhone and MacBook for my silent show. Okay, awesome. So what you can do is you can use a feature called, so you have to go to help.whatnot.com. Okay, help.whatnot.com. And then you're going to go to, you're going to search for live selling tools or selling tools. And then it's going to tell you how to turn on live selling tools. It's changed, and I'm going to say, just go to help.whatnot.com because the app keeps changing where they put stuff. But you're going to go to live selling tools and you're going to turn that on. And then you will have a feature called Facecam that you could use, and you could use it with, like, if you have, say you have even if you print it out on a piece of paper, right? So Facecam gives you this. So it's, no, hang on. I've done something to the other. I'm going to wait, switch there. I think, oh dear, Facecam, turn back on Facecam. Boop. There we go. Okay, there I am. All right. So with Facecam, you could, let me switch it to something else. There we go. With Facecam, you could have like a piece of paper up with your show thumbnail, and you could do something like that with your show thumbnail, like there, and then that, or you could do it the other way around. So you can use Facecam as a way to like have some sort of show thumbnail or something in the background. You would just make sure that this camera, your back camera, is facing the right way, is facing on the right thing, and that you can still show your stuff silently on the other. So that would be my recommendation, is to use the live selling tools and use Facecam. All right, back down we go. All right, catching up here. Ella asks, why didn't Whatnot take into account the last holiday in the shipping delays? It's like their business days don't account holidays. They're supposed to. The last holiday is new to remember, we have to forgive them. They're Americans. The one of the co-founders is Canadian, but you have to forgive that most of them are Americans, and so they don't have a Truth and Reconciliation Day. Y'all need to, but they don't have one, and so you just have to message. You can message trust and safety. I can say that properly. Trust and safety at whatnot.com, and let them know that your shipping days were not didn't take into account the fact that the post office was closed that day. Was the post office still closed that day, or were they on strike? I can't even remember, but you know what I mean. That it was a holiday. Collectocard says, so in our live auction should add $5 starts in case of the cost of the people that aren't in Chitchat's range to offset price. $5, yeah. If you're only going to sell like 5 things, then $5 is like $25, which should cover if there's one person in there that doesn't. I mean, it's a cost doing business, right? But I would say if you're selling a lot of stuff, Collecto cards, then $1 or $2 additional is is more than enough to offset it. Vintiquity did that. She sells a lot of vintage stuff, and that's what she did, vintage and antiques, and she did shows during the last strike, and she just added $1 or $2 on, and that really mitigated the risk. Shan says, but it told me I had to send them out within a certain amount of days, and there's no way I could send them out. Okay, yes. So here's the thing. That little notice that you get that you're overdue, you need to send this within 48 hours, or what it says is it's going to affect your shipping times. And if you go into like my shipping times are high. Other people, it used to be that like it wouldn't even show your shipping times if your shipping was over 3 days. It They ideally want people who ship out within 2 days. But if there's circumstances like a strike, or you know what, you suddenly have like really bad explosive diarrhea for 3 days in a row, you can message Trust and Safety and say, look, like I was ready to ship out. I had a great show. I had everything set up for shipping, and then I got a really bad cold, or I ended up in the hospital, or my daughter got sick and I had to go drive her to or my father died. They understand because they're human too. So it's okay if you don't ship within 2 days now. It's not like it used to be where it was like, if you don't ship within 2 days, they still don't want you shipping slow. But life happens, and if you message Trust and Safety at whatnot.com and explain what's going on, then they will mark that on your file. And yes, they're still going to tell buyers that it takes you 3 or 4 days to ship out if you had a delay because of the strike. However, once the strike is over and you can go back to business as usual and you can do shipping like same day or next day, your numbers will go back to what they were. It's not a lifetime shipping statistic. It rolls over every like 30 days, I think 30 or 90 days. So if you improve your shipping later, it's going to totally change it. So yes, I know that it nags you, and it's like it's being mom and nagging you, but don't worry about it. Okay, so Celestial Fashion Thrift says, I can't really do shows while Canada Post is on strike. The closest Chitchats to me is Burlington, which is 1 hour away, and I don't drive. So do you have a Pure Later drop-off location that's near you? I'm sure if you're 1 hour away from Burlington, then I bet you have a whole bunch of Pure Later drop-off locations. There might even be one at the convenience store down the road from you. So look into that, find your closest Pure Later drop-off location, read the hours, and make sure that there's no restrictions on the size of the packages that you can drop off. And then you can use the batch system that I talked about earlier. You can rewatch this on YouTube. You can use the batch system and use Pure Later Smart Drop to drop off at a Pure Later drop-off location, and then they will take it to Burlington. And because it's only an hour away, it should be better. Hey, Megahertz, what's up? So Sassy Mandu says some people had their thumbnail instead, and that would be ideal. So I was wondering how they did it. They were probably using OBS. So if you have the ability to set that up on your computer and you're pretty knowledgeable about computer programming and can learn pretty fast, then you can set up OBS. There are a whole bunch of, if you go to help.whatnot.com and type in OBS, it's a free software. It's an open broadcast software. If you type that in, there's actually an awesome video that I think it's Craig has done that's like step by step through how to set up OBS, all the things that you need to do, and there's even more information. Vintage Buyback Kelly Irish says, I was confused. You said silent shows weren't allowed, if I understand. So you have to be present. So if you don't want to speak, you just say, I'm not going to be speaking, or this is a silent show, but you're showing items. You're not going to just have, hang on. Yeah, let's just set something up here. I've seen people that just have like, that's the notification that it's just a silent show, and they'll have like, stuff is in the buy it now. Why are my dogs losing their mind? And they just put stuff up on the screen, right? They just put stuff on the screen and they have a little note and they're not there. They're gone. They're not there. So it's not like they're, so what would be better is like, yeah, don't leave. You're still in the room. So you would like show this. We're going to pretend that I'm selling these. Start auction. So I'm like, I'm still in. Oh, wait, I have to quiet. I have to shut up. This would be silent. Pretend I'm silent. I can't be silent. Oh my God, Sassy, I don't know how you do. And I'm selling this for $2,000. I can't be silent. Anyways, this is what you would do. So just pretend I'm not here. Oh my God, maybe if I mute, I would be able to do this. So you're still there. It's clear you're there, and you've got a little sign. Wakey, wakey. You have a little sign that says it's a silent show. Yeah. So then obviously the chat, if someone talks in the chat, you're going to have to, instead of answering them, you're going to have to say hi in the chat, right? If you don't want to actually speak, if you want to make it totally silent. Yeah. So you could just turn off your mic if you wanted to. But then there's also like, sorry, let me switch again. Holy cow. I would, well, I mean, there's Kid and Lady Rescue. There's a show for everybody. I mean, if that's what there are ASMR shows where people are literally, they don't say any, they whisper, and then they open stuff up. They open stuff up. And then sound, and then they show the thing, and they run it. Yeah. So there's that. I couldn't do it. Sometimes people want to do a show but could have laryngitis. There's so many reasons, but there's a show for everybody. So you can, as long as you are interacting. So say someone says hi and you're not actually going to speak. Thrift Italy. Is that Italy? No, what am I seeing? Follow, view profile. Good morning, Mark. Bonjour. How are you? Oh, you're in Canada. Hello. I'm sorry. That was not Italy. I just saw IT, so I assumed Italy. Greece. Oh my gosh. Why don't I know that? I'm sorry. Raid from Storage Share. Shut the front door. Thank you for the raid. Everyone follow Storage Share, who's amazing. How was your show? We're catching up. I'm so far behind in the chat right now. I'm sorry. Do you have any experience with custom random wheels? I can't get different options on my phone. So stamp pickers, so yeah, what you have to do is you have to actually manually enter it. So what I do is I type it in Keep Notes and then I copy it and paste it in. Otherwise you get like MBA and stuff like that, but you can use the custom random wheel. That's the randomizer wheel. Let me see if I can do it. Hang on. Randomizer. I don't know why the dogs. Show spin wheel. Okay, and then under options it says manual entry down below. So it says options, NBA teams, and NFL teams, MLB teams, and then there's a manual entry underneath that. And then that's where you want to, let me see if I can paste autofill. No, it's not going to let me paste. So let's just see. I'm just randomly typing and it's deciding things. The first return thing that the world, the most powerful, oh my God, the most beautiful, the best thing. Okay. So there we go. And shuffle, and spin. And the winner of is thing. Yay. And then it'll give me the option. It should give me the option to get rid of this. Hang on. Randomizer. Remove thing. Shuffle, spin wheel. Let's see what we get. Whee! The best thing. Thing and then the best thing. All right. Remove thing. Hide spin wheel. There you go. So that's the randomizer. I'm doing that from stamp pickers. I'm doing that from an iPhone. Hang on. We got to go outside and yell at the dogs. So they're losing their mind. And I don't know why. Why are we barking? We don't need to bark. Thank you. That's all I need to do. Chat! Stop barking, chat! Bark! Sorry. Drop off at Chitchats actual branch location. Oh, sorry. I'm catching up. Boom! I'm so far behind. Hang on. Peacock says if you're not there, it's pretty lazy. I won't browse their bin. I just leave the show. Yeah. Oh, storage here. I'll try to see you guys at Mount Olympus in 2 days. Mount Olympus. Woo! You're going to. Are you going to? You're going to Greece. Okay, I'm trying to catch up. Pay Tribute says, can we use Pure Later for bring your own label? No, only FedEx or UPS, but you can use Pure Later to drop off your packages using Smart Drop and send them to a Chitchats location. So you select Chitchats as your provider instead. And then the only additional cost is the cost of delivering from your closest Pure Later drop-off location to the Chitchats hub. So in Ontario, that is Burlington. In the Maritimes, it is Bedford Bay, Nova Scotia, Montreal. I can't remember if it's Calgary or Edmonton, and then Richmond, I think. Magnus by Marika says, someone told me they do silent show because their kids are asleep. Yeah, whispering shows, moms whispering at night. I've seen that, especially in crystals and stuff. Peacock says, I want to be there for my customers, not somewhere flipping laundry. Yeah, you need, even if you're going to do a silent show, you have to be there. You have to be active in your show, even if you're saying, I'm doing a silent show, which there's no way I could do that. And Medicare says, I'm so into that. Adorned by Zartash, yes, go ahead and ask your question. Or you already did, I'm catching up. Oh, goodness. Few silent auctions, but it's not for everyone. Yeah. Your glasses are missing. And a lot of streams, it's all about the seller, not the product that you can potentially find elsewhere. That is very true. Nisco. Oh gosh, sorry. I like the silent shows, to be honest. Nobody calling me chat or asking me who's in the chat, say hi, etc. I like to shop, buy now, check it out, and interact through messages. Yeah. And remember that if you're a seller and you're doing a show and the chat is silent, that doesn't mean that they're not there and interested. 80 to 90% of people in a show will never say a single word. So do not take that personally. It has nothing to do with you. Adorned by Zartash says, I just got my first sale. So excited. It was a bundle. I did create a temp listing and weigh it. My question is now, do I have to print a label? Yes. So you have to go into seller.whatnot.com on a laptop or computer or your tablet, like on a browser. You're going to go to seller.whatnot.com and you're going to go to your shipments and you are going to go to that shipment and you're going to put the measurements. You're going to package that stuff up. You're going to weigh it, and then you're going to put the dimensions of the box, and then you put that into Whatnot. And it depends. If you use Chitchats, then all you need to do is hit generate label, and it'll generate a label, and then you drop it off at your closest Chitchats location. So Adorned by Zartash, you have to drop it off at a Chitchats drop-off location, whether that's a branch, if that's closest to you, or another drop-off location. And you can find all the locations at chitchats.com. Jessica says, say hi to Loki for me. Loki, come say hi. Come up. Come up. Come up and say hi. Oh, there we go. There's Loki. Yeah, you're going to sniff the chat. You're going to say hi. Thank you. I love you too. Hang on. Let me just double check. He's been outside, so it's tick season. So that's all I'm looking. Like, I just look at the dogs and I'm constantly worried about ticks. They have their medication and everything, but they don't have medication for humans. I want tick medication for humans, so I don't need to worry. Cap City says, check out somebody. That girl yells at you, it's stressful, or someone else goes, chat go, chat bid. Chat Smart Drop has started to work. Have they got it now up where you can enter it in yourself? That would be awesome if they do. I haven't heard from Matthew yet, so hopefully it is working. Shannon says, so why when I choose Chitchats and click generate label, it gives me an error pop up because I'm not close to one? It could be that, or could be that the address, is it all of your shipments in that show, or is it just one of the if everything works but one of them, it means that particular address cannot be delivered via Chitchats, and you'll have to use bring your own label for that address. Okay. Peacock Jury says, I did a long show once and I said to my boyfriend, I can't believe I could talk for 7 hours straight. And he said, I can. Yes. Kitten Lady Rescue says, you would think that instead of spending all that money out trying to make ticks less deadly, that they would try to find a vaccine. I mean, there is one that's in the works. The only problem is that a lot of research into vaccines has lost its funding in the United States of America. So vaccines in general are not going to be developed over the next few years. You're going to see it's going to be coming out of Europe. It's going to be coming out of Europe. Europe has not stopped, so let's hope that there's vaccines in Europe. And by the way, he is currently, again, because it's my show, he is now chewing up and beating up the Humpty Trumpty dog toy that I have for him. So he's helping me. He's Bytown Thrift. Are you in the Byward Market? OMG. View profile. Follow. Hello, Bytown Thrift. You just came in. I was like, oh, Bytown. My daughter lives in the Byward Market. So, Adorned by Zartash says, I was asking if Smart Drop with Purelator started working, or do you have to go to Burlington? It hasn't started working that you can do it on the Chitchat system yet, but you can manually do it by calling calling the Burlington branch and asking for help in creating a batch label. Cap City, you're from Bytown, Ottawa. Yay! My daughter lives she lives in the condo building right across from the Salvation Army. For those who know the Byward Market area. Just like FDA approved drug Alicidin kills Lyme disease, but it's not FDA approved for Lyme. No, of course not. Nisco says, I love Bytown, Ottawa. That's where me and hubby stayed when we went there to visit. I loved it. Yeah, I used to stay just below that on Cooper Street. There was a sweet hotel that I absolutely loved. It was so dated. It's now condo buildings, so it's no longer my favorite hotel because I have stayed there because there are some of the condos there are for rent. People call it boring. I love the Byward Market, especially on the weekend. I love the Byward Market. I love that whole area. I love going in the summer and watching the boats go through because that's so cool. I think everything's very cool. Yeah, happy strike day to Dave. Gosh, you poor thing. Dave from Alberta says, hey, Albertans fight hard for people to have the freedom to get weird diseases. No, yeah. Lots of comments. My mother had polio, okay? My mother had polio as a child. She was 4 years old. She got, her brother came home with flu-like symptoms. Then she got the flu-like symptoms, and then suddenly she wasn't able to breathe or move. And she ended up in hospital and then in recovery for a year at 4 years old. Imagine having your 5th birthday in a rehabilitation center with a bunch of other kids where you weren't allowed to see your parents except for on Sundays. That was the only visiting time. She didn't see her brother for an entire year. She saw him once out of the window. She waved at him out of the window because kids were not allowed in because they didn't understand whether or not it was contagious, and they thought the kids might get it from being in contact with kids who were recovering from polio. Anyways, we are big pro-vaccine family because my mother was 6 years. She got polio 6 years before the first vaccine. Oh yes, go on. Yes, tell me the new conspiracy theory about the Canada Post strike, and if Corey's still here, he can tell us whether it's true. Anyways, vaccines have saved lives. It's been snowing. Where has it been snowing, Sassy? You have one package to ship. Let the adventure begin. You can do it. You can do it. You're here. Okay, come on. Vintiquity's typing. So, anyways, everyone share your shows. In Alberta, it's been snowing. Oh, it was 80 degrees 2 days ago. It was hot. Like I was like, this 80 is kind of like my perfect summer temperature. And if I could live between 80 and 70, this is why I need to move to Central America. It's hard to pick a country. Definitely not Venezuela or anything. Oh gosh, that's not good, kitten lady. Dave, who possibly is in Alberta, says it was 22 degrees where he is. Okay, so Vintiqui says the theory brings us back to the truckers because they can't get over the freaking fact that 90% of Canadians were united against them. Wait, what? Okay. The truckers can't get over the fact that we were all against them, almost all of us were. Loki, what are you chewing on? Don't chew that. Stop that. Stop swallowing toys. You got to stop doing that. You really do. The free dumb convoy that was supposed to go back to Ottawa, and then they couldn't get themselves organized to go back to Ottawa in September because I warned my daughter. I was like, "There's these guys coming into the store, and they're saying that there's going to be another convoy," and then there wasn't. Yeah, Shanna said, I thought about just walking around my house and selling all the crap I don't need, or ask some if someone wants anything they see. Yeah, the only thing with that is I would say pick up some stuff and like run it, even if it's random around your house. Because again, 80 to 90% of people, when you're doing scan shows, whether you're scanning your house to be like, do you want my toaster or not? They 80 to 90% of people never say a word, and they won't ask you to run something. So if you do a scan show, still pick up stuff and run it, because people just shut up. Kin Lady Rescue says, how many types of shows are there? Because I'm bored with mine. Check out other shows and see what you like. Go into people that you don't follow normally. Loki, come here. You've got to stop chewing that. Come. Loki wokey, pudding and pie. Kissed the girls and made them cry. Loki wokey, pudding and pie. Loki wokey. Come on. Loki wokey. Loki wokey, pudding and pie. Kissed the girls and made them cry. Loki wokey. Oh, yes, thank you. There we go. He's giving me his Trumpy Dumpy. All right. It's pretty much what he sounds like. Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Okay. Freedom to strike, freedom to protest. Let's keep our freedoms. I think we should have freedoms, period. Kin Lady Rescue says, I've never seen Silent or any of that. The nighttime shows is where you need to go, Kitten Lady Rescue. Like in the middle of the night, there are some weird forking shows. There are also some just interesting shows like the ASMR. Like Dee, when she does she does ASMR shows every once in a while. She is so freaking good at it. Now I'm not allowed to shop in my sleep. Yes, don't shop. Oh, that's right. You can't shop in your sleep. So, but those are the shows that your subconscious was buying in because they were silent in ASMR. You never know. You never know. Okay, am I getting it back? Yeah, thank you. All right, here we go. There you go. You can chew that up, but stop chewing the plastic. I mean, he just spits it out all over the floor, and then it gets stuck in the vacuum. Peacock says when Dee does Whisper Wednesday, I can't listen. She's so good at it, though. I'm not good at watching because it just makes me want to go to sleep. Sometimes she's just too chill for me because sometimes I need to wake up. All right, so last call for any questions you have and sharing your shows. And Vintiquity says the real reason for the Canada Post strike is that the real reason is the conspiracy theory that it's the truckers can't get, but they weren't the same truckers. That's so weird. They weren't even the same truckers. They just put Doug Ettinger back in charge of CPC to do the change. They don't lose. They transferred to Pure later to buy Livingston for for $1 billion. I almost said £1. What's Livingston? Oh my gosh. So this is like there's just you know what, to be honest, stamp pickers, I can see them totally turning Pure later into our Canada Post. Check out Edinger's resume and follow the money. Yeah. The minister is expected to do something today with Cup W. Meeting with them, another meeting where listens and then does absolutely nothing and says nothing. Goody gumdrops. Oh, for my birthday, I got more strike. Pure Cock Jewelry says I worked for Pure Later for a year, not cheap to send. The prices depend. I mean, compared to other places. Yeah, Cap City. I don't know how. I don't know how anybody could support that. That's why that guy up there who just got someone else to give up his seat, and they wasted millions of dollars to give him a seat again. That guy should not have been reelected. But then that's my opinion. And once upon a time, I was like a huge supporter. I can't believe some of the stuff that I said in my youth, in my 40s. Be the first to buy private equity in Canada Post when it's privatized. Yeah, I probably would too. We all should. Ooh, what if the union members got stock? We need Canada Post back. We definitely do. Okay, let's see. Rebecca Relics is on, and it's her second show. So I think we are going to go there because Rebecca Relics has come in so many times to my show, and she's amazing. Oh yeah, ask a question. Feel free. Sales have taken a hit here. Yes. Yeah, we're definitely going to go into. I have a question for a smart person. It's not me, but Vintiquity, feel free to ask the question. And then I'm going to, as you're typing, I'm going to put this down. So Vintiquity's going to ask a question. I'm going to hit the raid button so I can have it ready so that somebody smart that's not me can answer the question. Rebecca's Relics, there she is. 4 people in her room. How many letter mail envelopes does each Canadian need to send per year in order? Ooh, like a letter writing campaign where we all write letters to save Canada Post. That's a good question. I can't answer that. 1 million each. Loki, stop chewing up Romeo's balls. Different balls. Sorry. over 2 billion more. Ooh, I'm not going to ask ChatGPT. That's going to, why is it so, why is there climate change? Because we asked ChatGPT, but we have someone in the room who's actually with Canada Post and knows. So over 2 billion more would have to be in order to save it. How much is Canada Post in the hole? Well, it depends on how you determine that. Because Canada Post, it's they just got a bailout of $1 billion. Letter mail's like $1 something. That's what they lost in the last 10 years. So they lost 2 billion letter mail in the last 10 years. So 2 billion letters per year. So we need to increase by 2 billion letters per year. But the problem is we've got managers and CEOs and vice presidents making a ton of money when it's not even we're 40 million. So mathing that, hang on. I will ask Alexa. Alexa, what is 2 billion divided by 40 million?
2 billion divided by 40 million is 50.
50. We'd have to send out 50. Parcels, etc. can do postal banking. Yeah. We can. There's a lot of other ways that we can use the post office too. More like collecting the stamps and stuff. That would be good too. Your Alexa answered too. All right, we are gonna raid now. I love you guys so much. Have an awesome day. I will be back on tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll have good news from the meeting with the minister and Cup W. I doubt it, but we can live in hope. But live in hope, but expect the worst. Prepare for the worst, which is status quo right now. Okay, love you guys so much. Have an awesome day. Let's go bless